Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and we have a special surprise for you today. Um, we're going to talk about the new Barbarian subclass from Bigby's, what is it, Glory of Giants?
Something to that
Bigby
effect.
Presents Glory of Giants. I believe
That
that's what
sounds
it's called.
exactly right. Yes.
All right, this is
Bigsby presents Glory of Giants, which is the equivalent of the Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, but for giants. So it's all about, the pantheon and the hierarchy of storm giants and cloud giants and fire giants and everything giant.
and this this new Barbarian path is called Path of the Giant.
Yeah, which is really
How
on the
appropriate.
nose.
Yeah.
I definitely could have done better than that. This book's gonna be chock full of lore. They done better than Path of the Giant, but yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. It's very similar to the playtest material that they gave us for the Unearthed Arcana for it a while ago, but there are some subtle differences that I have not noticed that I'm sure are there. At least I hope are there. They just printed the playtest material. I'd be a little bit disappointed in you Wizards of the Coast. So hopefully that's not the case.
All right.
Want to dive into it?
Yeah, let's dive in.
Okay, so
I've
third level.
I've looked at all this stuff, and most of it looks pretty cool.
Sure. It starts with two features, Giant's Power and Giant's Havoc. So Giant's Power basically gives you a couple of bonus cantrips. A bonus cantrip, as well as learning the Giant language. So you either learn Druidcraft or Thaumaturgy, and your Wisdom is your spellcasting modifier for that. Cosmetic cantrips are great. I love cosmetic cantrips. Which of these is better? It's hard to say. They are doing a lot of things. I like Thaumaturgy better a little bit, but I think just because I would imagine a Barbarian would have more fun with Thaumaturgy than Druidcraft, right?
Yeah, I saw this. Okay. You learn the Giant language. All right, skip. There's more to this text. You learn a cantrip of your choice. Here we go. Oh, but you got to choose either Druidcraft or Thaumaturgy. Yeah. I don't like either of these.
Are you saying you don't want to create harmless tremors in the ground around you for a minute? Or
I feel like I'm going to do that.
Eyes?
I'm going to be creating harmless tremors with the other features.
They'll be a little bit less than harm, or a little bit more than harmless too. So Giant's Havoc is the other third level feature you get that's got actual meaningful text. So this basically gives you, while you're raging, you get some benefits. You get Crushing Throw and Giant Stature, and Crushing Throw basically lets you can make range attack. When you successfully make range attacks with thrown weapons, you add your rage modifier, where normally you wouldn't, because rage normally only applies to melee damage. This lets you kind of work with, raging and throwing javelins, or the hypothetical is rocks, which is what our giants are usually hurling at things. And they also get Giant Stature, which gives you an extra 5-foot reach, which is sweet. It lets you become large while raging, which is interesting and normally a downside, but still pretty cool. It gives you advantage on grappling mediums creatures and stuff. And that's functionally it. I have not been high on this feature, and I'm still not particularly high on this feature, but it is cool at least.
I mean, I'm happy with the reach increase.
Yeah, bonus 5 feet reach is fine. If you're using pole arms, it's a lot more interesting, right? Like maybe you do this inside of a polearm master build as a bugbear, and you got 25-foot reach, and you're with noodly arms stabbing things from a quarter of a mile away.
I don't think that's what it looks like.
We're stacking 5-foot reach, 10-foot reach of pole arms, plus 5-foot reach from this, plus 5-foot reach from bugbears, 20-foot reach, and then you're like,
all right, that's probably how it has to look. That's not how I want to picture it in my head.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't stack with bugbears, but I think it does, and it makes it kind of funny looking. And if you want to play that character, it's probably fine. That probably goes in the polearm master build pretty well, is to be this is my zone. I'm raging in a giant, and this is my zone, and no one's coming into my zone without getting poked, at least. Yep. That's pretty cute. That's pretty cool. I dig that.
I'll take I like this a whole lot better than Giant's Power.
I mean, Thaumaturgy is fine. Why not just take... you don't have to learn Giant. It can be a different language if you already know Giant.
I don't care about... I mean, yeah. No, I'd probably choose Giant because to fit the theme. But we've discussed languages many times on this channel. It's never coming up.
Yeah. I don't think Crushing Throw is a good enough feature on its own to justify this. And if you aren't in some way, shape, or form weaponizing the reach more, so that'll often be trying to prevent large amounts of creatures from passing with attacks of opportunity. It's kind of where it's at its best. Or, and again, using Polearm Master, the reaction to stab things that are running by you.
Right.
you don't really need this. I would even say Polar Masters normally don't need that much more reach than they already have.
Yeah, but I mean, a little more is not going to hurt.
Yeah,
Feels good.
you become large.
Yeah. What's not to love?
It is flavorfully fun. I think it's missing a little bit in the new things to do department. I don't know if this is giving me a lot of exciting out of combat opportunities, or like if we compare this to the Path of the Totem, like the bear and stuff. Bear is obviously really good because it's resistant to all damage, but a lot of the other oaths give you, like, Beast gives you a way to attack with a bunch of claws, and you get an extra attack if you use claws, or your tail to contrip things. You get some flexible different combative stuff. This is just you're kind of large and are good at throwing things.
Yeah, that's 2 different play styles. You got options here.
Do you? Are you still going to take a greatsword and be like, I don't get meaningful text from this?
All right. Well, I like it. I will probably explore all of these options.
That's fair. I think they probably could have added, like, within large reduce, you got a D4 bonus damage on your weapon attacks. That's not included here, so you don't get bigger weapon damage, which I think would have helped a lot. It would not have been busted by any stretch of the imagination, but here we are. That's not what was printed.
Yeah.
There's also Elemental Cleaver. So this is the 6th level Path of the Giant feature. So this basically lets you infuse your weapons with magic that is primordial based off of like the different giant types, hypothetically. When you enter a rage, you get to like pick acid, cold, fire, or thunder, and then you get the bonus d6 damage whenever you hit with that weapon.
Or lightning.
Or lightning, sorry. That's an important one for Storm Giant fans out there. You do bonus d6 damage, and it gives whatever's infused the thrown property, and like Captain America boomerangs back to your hand whenever you attack with it. This is a first major compelling reason to like actually consider a thrown weapon as your core playstyle of just like stuff around, which is cute. That being said, still like 2060 is not a particularly far range, and you already have reach, so a lot of the times you're going to be like pretty happy just attacking with whatever your infused weapon is. And this bonus d6 damage is fine. It's just kind of also like kind of a little bit later than I'd like. Like I don't see this being so good that it couldn't have been bundled in with the 3rd level feature in some iteration. I don't know. It's definitely cute though.
It does sync with the 3rd level with the crushing throw, right?
Yeah,
like
you still get your rage damage when you throw him. Yeah,
and get your rage. Okay. Yeah, that helps it out a lot for me.
Sure. It also this also incidentally dodges non-magical resistances if with non-magic weapons, just because this changes their damage type to elemental damage types. So you'll be things that like werewolves that have resistance to slashing damage. This gets around it technically. That's kind of cute.
Wait, is all the
damage
magic or just the extra d6?
They change it. All the extra damage. The weapon's damage type changes, and it does a bonus d6 damage of that type. So
all right.
And then if you want to swap out the damages, you can. It's a bonus action. Sure, why not? That's cute. That's cool. That's fun and dandy.
Is that ever happening? I don't know.
Maybe. I doubt it. Flavorfully, you might find a reason to do it.
Yeah.
It also does specify
cool feature.
You
even
can't
if it's a little. Sorry, it's a cool feature. I like it, but it's a little ridiculous. Like this doesn't feel like a barbarian thing. Like I throw my axe, and it. Yeah, I mean, I guess.
I'm so angry it catches on fire. Definitely feels like a barbarian thing.
Yeah. Oh no, I was talking about it returning to your hand.
That's
the ridiculous part.
It reappears in your hand if it hits or misses the target.
Right.
Sure. It's just like, bink, it's there now. I think this feature's a little bit clunky, and it only affects one kind of weapon, so you can't be like 2 hand axes. You have to pick your 1 hand axe, and you do it a whole lot. This is if you wanted to play Barbarian Thor, you'd be like, lightning hammer, go! And that's exactly what this looks like, is, throwing your lightning hammer around. Alternatively, again, fire axe or whatever, if you want to
or just a big rock.
Or just a big rock. It could just be a large rock that does 2d6 damage. Sure, why not? Past Elemental Cleaver, we get Mighty Impel, which is the 10th level feature. So this lets you throw enemies and allies, which is really cute. So as a bonus action, you can choose a medium or smaller creature you can reach and move it to an unoccupied space you see within 30 feet, which is a weird way to phrase that. Like you're moving the creature, right? Not throwing the creature. An unwilling creature makes a save against your strength mod DC thing. If it ends its movement there, it falls, taking damage as normal and landing prone. So like, if you throw it to a space that it can't land on, it just plummets. So that's something, I guess. So you can like throw it straight up,
Right, that's
and
what I
then
was
it'll
thinking.
fall 30 feet down.
I like that they say in here that you can, because a lot of these things you talk with the DM. Am I allowed to throw them here? But no, yeah, you can just throw them straight up. It's right here in the text. He's gonna fall and take damage. Good times.
It also helps that like this is bonus action. You do have to be
Yes,
rate.
bonus action. This feels like what you would want to do with an attack.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe,
I think
but
this really does. This to me is the defining feature of this subclass. I think this more though, like while the growing larger makes you feel a little bit more like a giant, I think this is the play pattern thing that I'd want to see, which is you take the little puny things around you and you throw your halfling friend up on top of the tree and you throw the enemy caster into the pit, right? It's very much you're big, you're in charge, you're throwing people around while you're smashing them with your hammer or throwing your things around, right? Like you're just causing havoc, boulders flying every which way, lightning fire from your axes that you're throwing around while you're in your offhand just picking people up by their legs and smacking them around off the ground and throwing them into the air and stuff, right? It's very much that
throwing them into walls of fire or other such fun things.
Yeah, I think this also, like you just suggested, this feature has very clear synergy with Blade Barrier, with all of the area of effect damaging spells that you want to have a creature enter on their turn and start their turn there. This is like, I put them there. They're there now.
And it's 30 feet. That's like so much bigger than any other of these kind of effects that we've seen. Like if you've got an area of effect kind of damaging or some whatever spell that you want them to like be in for multiple turns, like, or yeah, maybe not multiple unless it's got some kind of difficult terrain or something, like 30 feet is big.
Yeah. It's one of the better ranged ways to get a creature where you want them. You have to be at that creature, granted, but barbarians got fast movement, so that helps. Then they need to fail a save, but it's a strength save, and you're really strong, so hopefully that helps.
I mean, if you're on the edge of why do I keep forgetting this spell's name? The thorny one, spike growth. Like, chuck them all the way through it.
You do move them to the space, so like hypothetically, they just like tread through it, or do they like fly over it and land in it? That's gonna be a question that's gonna vary on your DM, I would guess.
I feel like they're moving through the space. They're getting torn apart by thorns. But yeah, I mean,
maybe. It's like, is it an arc? Is it like a straight line? If it's straight line, probably yes. If you have to like bank them to get to that spot, maybe not. I don't know. Again, I think
you underhand bowl them there.
Yeah, because they definitely did use the words "you move them." It definitely implies they'll take all the damage from the spike growth, which is cute. Cute little synergy.
All right, so there you go. That's perhaps that's why they worded it so awkwardly.
Perhaps. We end on Demiurgic Colossus. So this is another effect that only works while you're raging, and I'm going to touch on that shortly. When you rage, you get you now have 10-foot reach as opposed to 5-foot bonus reach, and you can become huge instead of large, which is cute. Which lets your other feature throw large creatures instead of just medium creatures, which is cute. And then it also bumps your base damage from your elemental cleaver by a d6 to 2d6. Now, I'm a little bit annoyed that this is its own feature and not a upper level version of the other features, right? Like a lot of times we would see this bundled into class features like, at 11th level, your aura increases by a specific distance in the case of paladins, for example. I would have loved to see in the feature elemental cleaver, this damage increases by an additional d6 at 14th level or whatever, and then have a real capstone here. As it is, becoming large is really cute. Getting an extra 10-foot reach is technically fine. I think there's a point where you don't really need more reach. I think we basically passed that the moment we had reach.
Respectfully disagree.
Okay. And then like the extra elemental cleaver damage is just a passive improvement that basically keeps this up, helps this keep up with other much more powerful options out there.
I like the reach. I mean, it's 10 feet. It's going to make a difference when you can almost get to the guy, and it's going to save a lot of dashing.
Maybe you're faster, and you're really good at throwing weapons, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this. So why do you need the extra reach?
There's still going to be some people just beyond your scope.
Just beyond your thrown weapon?
What was it, 20 feet?
It's 20 over 60. So you can attack with disadvantage, but you can recklessly attack to mitigate that because he has a strength-based attack roll, assuming reckless attack isn't melee range. Let me consult the Barbarian lore real quick. Reckless attack is when you make your first attack on your turn. Doesn't matter what kind of attack it is. So yeah, you could just throw recklessly at range to make the attack normally, even at if it normally be at disadvantage. So that's
Okay. All right. Perhaps the reach isn't going to come into play as often as I think it might, but
again,
I
Bugbear
appreciate
Polearm Master has like a 30-foot zone. Just like, okay.
Nothing's getting by that guy.
It's like what his arms are like the weird bird things from Animal Cross or from Pikmin that are like big beaky tentacly noodly things just poking out and around.
Stabbing helicopters.
It's kind of what it feels like. I think this option definitely goes past critical mass of how much I care about reach. I think oftentimes all you care about is you have a longer reach than your enemy. That normally is done with a polearm, and it sometimes is done with a reach plus a polearm in the case of another polearm or a large creature. And this like technically goes even further than that, but that's such a few amount of creatures.
And what about like for the polearm sentinel build?
There's again a critical mass. You still only get one reaction a turn.
That's
so you're still
true.
just stopping one thing from entering the zone. And the thing is normally running at you anyway.
I don't know. I'd be running from this guy.
I mean, like you can throw a polearm, like you throw a spear, specifically a spear, and then it damages it, and then you recall it, and then it's also what you're using to stab things. So that's a pretty cute play pattern with Sentinel and Polearm Master.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. That's fun.
Again, you just only have one reaction around, but you'll have a place to put your reaction. This is going to be a fine place for Polearm Master. Is it better than all the other Barbarian options? I don't think so. I think it's about as good as a middle tier Barbarian option. And I think what I haven't touched on that I think is really important is this: the majority of these features, 4 out of 5 of these features, only function while you're raging, which means if you run out of ranges, which you normally don't in the mid plus upper tiers, normally you have functionally infinite rages once you get like 3 or more of them, because there aren't just that many encounters per long rest. Your fights will all be better and improved by this, but it gets Druidcraft or Thaumaturgy in a language is all of its out of combat utility stuff, like all of it. You have to use a rage to get your bonus action throw? Really? Like, we couldn't let that be just an out of combat utility thing? Like, why does the bonus action have to only happen while raging? Why can't I throw my small buddies? I don't quite understand why this limitation is needlessly tacked on here, because it's going to make it so it doesn't have anything to do out of combat, which is a huge problem Barbarians have. In combat, it'll feel like, yeah, you do a little bit of bonus extra elemental damage, it's relatively simple to digest, you get to be big and smash things, but it's really missing a lot of what at the heart of Barbarian is desperately asking for, especially in the mid-upper tiers.
I do like the thought of, hey man, can you put me up on that rooftop? Sure, but first I have to get really pissed off.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, then you're like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? As you did look as the Barbarian grows before you. Rage just seething, breaking, punches a wall, puts a hole through, and then goes, okay, and just throws you up there and calms down the round after.
Yeah, I don't mind all that so much. I feel like I don't play a Barbarian for a lot of out of combat stuff. Like I'll just in my downtime, I'll just probably kind of hang in the background anyway. I'm playing a Barbarian because I want to murder things, and yeah, I want to kill monsters, and I want to be raging all the time.
Sure, this will help you do that. A cute thing we didn't touch on, because you can bonus action throw creatures, if you are the Polearm Master build and something does manage to get on top of you, you can stab it, pick it up, throw it, and make it run back at you to get stabbed again. That's really cute.
Oh,
that's really cute. Hold on, I kind of love
murder
that.
treadmill.
Yeah. 1 or 2 things are going to have a really bad time against this Polearm build specifically. Just because that bonus action throw is really cute. I still really don't think, like, they really didn't need to make it a bonus action while raging. So that way you can just do something. Just Barbarians, like agnostic was if you want to play Barbarian to play combat or not, you're gonna be doing a lot of D&D not in combat. And if all you're doing is casting Thaumaturgy, speaking giant, and making athletics checks, like you're gonna have a pretty bad time. And this
I don't know that you are. I mean, they're like role playing. You can do stuff. I mean, I'm gonna go talk to the shoe vendor or whatever I need to do. Yeah, maybe
you're the worst at doing that because that's a charisma skill.
Yes.
You're the worst at doing the dexterity
hilarious,
stuff.
fun times.
Sure. But like if you're going to break into a place, all you do is break the door in. That's your job. The wizard teleports in. Half of the characters in this game can teleport in. Paladins can teleport in with like Oath of Vengeance, plenty of their oaths. And if they don't have that, they've got other interrogation tools. They've got plenty of magic to supplement what they're doing. Like fighters, barbarians, monks even have like Step of the Wind and ways to engage three-dimensionally in some facets. They can run on walls. They can do a lot of basic stuff that barbarians just can't. Barbarians get like danger sense. They're like fighters in that they just, if you're not in combat, you just go, an NPC is as valuable as I am. And I really don't think this game, the players should be able to bring more to the table on every single character than what an NPC commoner can.
All right, you make a fair point there. That's, I don't know. That's, well, I mean, yeah, all right. That's a problem with Barbarian in general.
Yes.
This subclass does
not
little
address
to address it. Yeah.
Not even in the slightest. And for a subclass released in this year, that's not acceptable. Like we saw Fizban's Treasure Dragons actually give Rangers a really excellent subclass. Drake Warden is spectacular. It gives them a lot of what they were looking for as far as a mount, that up companion, having an allied summonable creature that can run around and do things. We know that's all good. This capstone feature, I think, doesn't need to be a capstone feature. All of this text could be baked into the lower level versions of other text, and we could have gotten something interesting as a 14th level feature here. Instead, it says the 40th level feature is a scaling option for all the earlier features, and that's not exciting or interesting or a good use of the book space, I don't think. So I think there's a lot of room to improve this. I really wish they had done more with it than what the playtest functionally gave us, but it's not what's here, so
I'm a lot more excited about it.
that's fair. Yeah, I've got to give it this credit. There's definitely some like deeply satisfying feeling about I rage as a barbarian, I become large, and I smash things. Like that's very iconically barbarian. That's as barbarian as it gets. I can't believe this option took this long to come to the table.
All right, you got a grade for it?
I think it probably deserves a C. I really don't think. Yeah, I'll give it a B because the Mighty Impel is a really, really fun feature and does lead to a pretty cute play pattern. But it's definitely lacking in all the departments Barbarian needs most. It isn't doing anything so much more powerful or even close to as powerful as the best Barbarian options are. I think that this is a option you take for the flavor alone, and then you really look towards magic items and other ways to keep up with the spellcasters and half-casters at your table. So you're going to struggle with all the basic Barbarian things, but you can probably have a really good time picking up medium creatures, throwing them across the room, smacking things around with a little bit of bonus elemental damage. It's going to feel fine.
I'm going to have a great time doing all that. Man, I thought you were going to go with C and I was going to go with B, but since you went with B,
no, you've talked me into it. I'm going to go with C. The Giant's Havoc is a really bad feature. When I say really bad, it's just unimpactful. Just adding your rage modifier to thrown weapons and getting an extra 5-foot reach is not nearly good enough for your 3rd level rage feature. That's quite bad. I think this gets a C. You're right.
Okay,
so you can go.
Good. I'm going to go with B plus. I can't bring you brought me down from A. I've got this shiny new toy just open in the box kind of syndrome thing going on. I'm excited to play it. But yeah, you made a lot of sense. You talked me off the edge. So no A, but yeah. All right, so for all around character, you're probably right, and then it's a C. For Barbarian that I really want to play right now, going with a B plus.
Sure.
All right, that was Path of the Giant. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know what you think in the comments. Are you excited about this one? And yeah, I guess like and subscribe and the bell and all that crap. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it, a gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.